Most people know Internet Computer as the project that launched at over $700 in 2021 and then lost 99% again. Internet Computer wants to become a fully decentralized world computer that replaces traditional cloud services. That sounds like a dead project, or like one of the most underrated infrastructure assets in the crypto space. But what if right now in this year is the moment when the fundamentals and the tokenomics finally come together? Today, we're going to look at the 10 reasons why that might be the case. Hi, I'm Marius from 10x, and today we're looking at why Internet Computer could be massively bullish in 2026. So grab a relaxing coffee, leave a like for me, then let's get right into it. Let's get straight to reason number 1, chain fusion, the multi-chain core. Internet Computer isn't just another layer 1, but it's ultimately a technology called chain fusion and chain key cryptography to enable trustless interaction between different networks. This eliminates the need for traditional bridges, for example, which historically have always shown problems, security gaps, and so on. Chain fusion allows Internet Computer today to interact directly with Bitcoin, Solana, Dogecoin, without a third party being in between, so to speak. By August 2025, $280 million in Bitcoin were already integrated into Internet Computer-based applications. This is no longer a theoretical feature, but a productive approach. But chain fusion is only half the story. What Internet Computer does additionally is technologically another level higher. Reason number 2, the full on-chain approach. Almost all other blockchains only store transaction data on-chain. Internet Computer, on the other hand, can run software directly on the blockchain. This allows, of course, decentralized websites, for example, but also dApps to be operated fully on-chain, while simultaneously storing the network's transaction data. Internet Computer uses this so-called proof of useful work model and thus completely replaces the classic gas mechanism. So users here no longer pay any transaction fees. Instead, the users themselves burn Internet Computer tokens. The network capacity is currently at 94 terabytes across 47 subnets, and Internet Computer consumes only 0.03 watt-hours per transaction, making it one of the most efficient blockchains in the world. That's the infrastructure. And now let's take a look at who is actually building it. Reason number 3, developer activity number 1 worldwide. If you want to evaluate a blockchain long-term, then definitely look at the developer activity. This data here is from March of this year. Internet Computer leads all major blockchains in GitHub comments, with 3,200 comments over the past 9 months and over 100 active contributors. This activity includes core protocol upgrades and ecosystem tools. The development program significantly outperforms networks like Ethereum and even Bitcoin. And this isn't just a short spike in activity, but rather an ongoing state. In October 25, a stable version of ICP PYY Core was released, offering developers a modern Python interface, so to speak. Internet Computer is actively working to bring more developers to the platform. But now the question is, what naturally comes out of this? The on-chain metrics tell us more. Reason number 4, the on-chain metrics and network growth. Numbers, not the narratives. The number of registered Canister smart contracts rose to nearly 400,000 in January 2024, then even higher, 1,163% compared to the previous year. The network nervous system, or on-chain governance, so to speak, the system of Internet Computer, shows robust participation of over 25 million staked Internet Computer in the voting neurons. That corresponds to 50% of the circulating supply, which is integrated into the governance process. Following the Mission 70 announcement this January, the Internet Computer network processed around 90 million transactions in a single day. And that was, of course, a record high. So network usage is rising, the supply is naturally tied up through staking, and canisters are growing in the triple digits. The next reason also explains why the ecosystem must continue despite its decisive step. Reason number 5, Caffeine AI and the ignition for mass adoption. Internet Computer had a known problem, it was long about its experience. Internet Computer had a known problem. It was long only accessible to very experienced developers. The introduction of Caffeine in July 25 is one of the most significant developments for Internet Computer. This AI-driven platform allows developers to build decentralized apps with natural image and voice inputs, which naturally makes Web3 development significantly more accessible. With the Caffeine Alpha release, it's possible to create a complete application using only prompts. This meets Internet Computer's serverless computing model and naturally also improves persistence in the system and AI models for code generation. AI agents are also a growing paradigm in software development, and of course in Internet Computer, this is a unique thing that positions it uniquely. AI agents on Internet Computer can securely manage digital assets, perform transactions with each other, and act completely autonomously, and of course be tokenized through their DAOs, the sovereign cloud, Switzerland, Pakistan, and the customers. Internet Computer isn't just pitching to individual developers, it's also pitching to certain governments. The new Swiss subnet, built on the Internet Computer Protocol, includes 13 independent node providers from Switzerland and, for example, Liechtenstein. And it ensures that data storage and processing remain entirely within Swiss borders. And of course, this helps institutions and local governments to comply with the GDPR. So this step is also a direct response to the growing doubts of Swiss regulators regarding the use of foreign cloud providers like Microsoft 365. And the Swiss subnet is also intended to be a trustworthy alternative for banks but also hospitals, government agencies and companies. On February 10th of this year, the Pakistan Digital Authority and the Definity Foundation signed a memorandum of understanding to build sovereign AI-native digital infrastructures in Pakistan. As part of the partnership, Definity will create a dedicated Pakistan subnet, which also includes tamper-resistant software. Reason number 7, institutional interest and real-world adoption. Institutional interest isn't just shown in price trends, it's primarily shown, of course, in partnerships as well. The collaboration between the Definity Foundation and Coupa, one of the leading digital assets, has naturally made it easier for institutions to stake or manage Internet Computer. Reason number 8, Mission 70, the tokenomics revolution. Internet Computer had a real problem, namely high inflation. In January 2026, which is this year, the Definity Foundation published the Mission 70 tokenomics white paper. This is a plan that was laid out to reduce annual inflation from 9.72% to 2.92% by the end of the year. So, a reduction of almost 70% in the supply. Supply-side reforms then provide 44% of the total reduction. These changes include, for example, lower voting rewards, node provider rewards, caps for the reward pool, and a simple maturity mechanism. The proposal has already been accepted with 53.99% of the votes, and analysts are drawing parallels here between this step and Bitcoin's halving effect, combined with Ethereum's EIP 1559 burn logic. This isn't hype, rather it's a structural change in the supply. We'll look at what all this means for the market structure now. Reason number 9, the market structure, the underrated wildcard in Arizona. Internet Computer is currently far from its all-time high. The current market cap is around 1.3 billion. That can always change, of course. That sounds small, and for a project with this technology base, it really is. Arizona Senate Bill 1649, introduced during the second regulatory season of 2026, proposes establishing a state digital asset reserve fund, which explicitly names Internet Computer as an asset, alongside Bitcoin and XRP. The bill already passed the Housing Rules Committee unanimously with an 8-0 vote and is now awaiting the full vote. Naming Internet Computer specifically in US state legislation, instead of placing it in a general category, naturally gives it an institutional standing that very few altcoins have ever received from US lawmakers. And reason number 10, the wildcard, the Bitcoin halving window. Here is a simple thesis. The 2024 Bitcoin halving unfolds its typical effects over the following 1 to 2 years. That naturally makes 2025 to 26 the bullish market window. Internet Computer's price behavior is currently driven more by long-term infrastructure bets than by speculative euphoria. If the Swiss subnet model scales to other nations, the burn rate of Internet Computer could naturally become substantial. And if chain fusion becomes the standard for cross-chain Bitcoin applications, Internet Computer will sit at the center of the Bitcoin DeFi infrastructure. Let me summarize. The three strongest arguments for Internet Computer in 2026 are: first, Mission 70, a structural inflation reduction of 70%, which has already been voted on by the network. That is, of course, a direct change in the supply dynamics. Second, its own cloud in Switzerland and Pakistan as a precedent for other nations. Governments as customers are, of course, much more stable than retail demand. Third, developer activity number one on GitHub. Those with very many active contributions, those who build so much, are preparing something. But now to the risks, because they are also there. Internet Computer is in a tension field between bold infrastructure, upgrades, high-level cloud partnerships, and AI-driven development on one side. And of course also fluctuating on-chain economic signals, declining user engagement, and a weak crypto market. Mission 70 must be fully implemented by the network. Caffeine must move out of the alpha phase and attract real users, and the broad market has to play its part. So, to the question at the beginning, is Internet Computer a dead project or an undervalued infrastructure asset? And the fundamental data points to the latter. But fundamental data alone doesn't set the price. The execution is decided by the narrative and the overall market environment. But let's move on to the chart analysis now. What's the current state and how would I trade right now? Let's jump right into the chart analysis for Internet Computer. Recently, right here on May 4th, a small green dot formed on the 10x indicator. After that, let's take a look. It was around here. Then we pushed up nearly 75–76%, which is extreme. Then a large red dot formed here, meaning we were overbought, right? Because so many people bought, entering an overbought zone, and then we were sold off massively. Let's take a look at that. From then on, by roughly 33%. But now something exciting has actually formed. Up here is always the bearish zone, so to speak, because we're entering overbought territory. Down here is more of a bullish zone because we're entering oversold territory. As you can see, we're roughly in the middle, now leaning towards, let's say, oversold. We recently had a small green dot form. This means, first of all, that we've formed a possible bullish trend reversal. The question is where it goes, if we'll retest the top, because there's definitely some room to grow here, and how it develops. But generally, the chart looks positive for now. What's still important though is that altcoins, including Internet Computer, are still driven by Bitcoin and logically the global economic situation. And that's the question now, like with the Strait of Hormuz, what the ultimate, response will be, whether there's finally an agreement or not. I'll make another news video about that. But that's it for the chart analysis for now, so generally rather bullish technically. If you want to use the 10x indicator yourself for your analyses, you can find it in the description below or just scan the QR code here to go to my website. Now that you know the 10 factors for Internet Computer, I'll link the full analysis for Internet Computer here with price scenarios through 2030. Thanks for watching and see you soon.